What's up, Paul H? How are you guys? Excellent. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we dive in. Please share your Twin Peaks Comic-Con experience. Follow Twin Peaks on social, at Twin Peaks on Instagram, at Showtime_Twin Peaks on Twitter, and at Twin Peaks on Showtime on Facebook, and use the hashtag Twin Peaks. A big part of this experience is going to be letting you guys talk to the amazing panel that we have here. We're definitely going to do some Q&A. I'm going to talk to them briefly. Before I bring them out, though, just wanted to say a few words about this show. In 1990, I was 16 years old, a sophomore in high school, and although I consider myself at that time sort of a quirky misfit, the popular kids had more colorful ways of describing me, a young man who wore vintage saddle shoes, listened to doo-wop, and slicked back his hair when I had hair. And to them, the cool kids, I was a weirdo. I wish I could say that I did not care about fitting in. I did care, and I was lonely. The world was scary and confusing, and I felt like it didn't understand me. And then on April 8th of that year, my life changed forever. It started with a dead body, a beautiful young woman washed up on the shore, a phone call, a shaken older man uttering the words, "She's dead," wrapped in plastic. And suddenly I was no longer alone. I was in Twin Peaks. I can't really describe what it was like to meet Agent Dale Cooper or Sheriff Harry Truman or poor dead Laura Palmer or Bobby and James and Donna and Shelley or Audrey and Leland and Andy and Lucy or Bob. But I can tell you this, I loved every single one of them because they were all weirdos. I was transported to this place and I never wanted to leave it. My dad and I would record every episode on something called a VCR. And we would watch them over and over again, theorizing, unpacking clues, falling deeper and deeper into the incredible story and unforgettable characters. It had humor, it had heart, it had soul. It was a meditation on love and loss and dare to take on the cosmic mysteries of good and evil. Because it wasn't really about who killed Laura anymore. It was just about playing its own beautiful music with no regard for the rules that governed the box that I was watching it on. This show was decidedly outside that box. This show took handfuls of creamed corn and threw them at the box. It changed everything, and then it was gone. But something incredible happened in the following years because it turned out that I was not the only weirdo obsessed with the goings-on in this small town on the border of Washington State and the Black Lodge. Twin Peaks, it turned out, not only thrilled us, it inspired us. It inspired everyone. There would be no Sopranos without Twin Peaks, no X-Files, no True Detective, no The Killing, or Broadchurch, no Fargo, no Stranger Things, and most certainly no Lost. I owe my entire career to this incredible show, and I couldn't think of a better place to say that out loud than in Hall H in San Diego, in a room full of weirdos just like me. Absolute honor to celebrate Twin Peaks' triumphant return. We're about to bring out some of the amazing cast, some of whom you've known for 25 years, some of whom you've just met. Unfortunately, the two visionaries who created our beloved Peaks could not be with us today, so let's give a huge round of applause for one of those men, Mark Frost. Mark is an incredible writer, both the original and the new Peaks, but even by his own account, the true maestro, the visionary, the icon, has always been its director. And he directed the entirety of our return to Twin Peaks, all 18 parts. One of our greatest living artists, Mr. David Lynch.
Yeah!
Part of me is relieved that David is not here because I would geek out so hard and be unable to complete full sentences, but the other part of me, the fanboy part, felt that a Peaks panel in Hall H without David would be incomplete. Fortunately, apparently some sort of mysterious message appeared and Showtime informed me that we are going to show it here. I have not seen it, none of the cast backstage have seen it, so if we could just play that message now before we dive in, that would be wonderful. Yeah. Let's bring out some of the incredible actors a part of Twin Peaks, the original and the return. First of all, as Mr. Bushnell Mullins, Mr. Don Murray. As William Hastings, Matthew Lillard. Big Ed Hurley himself, Everett McGill.
Yeah.
James Hurley, James Marshall. My favorite, Lucy Moran, Kimmy Robertson. Bobby Briggs, Dana Ashbrook. Gary Hutchins, Tim Roth.
Yeah.
Janey-E Jones, Ms. Naomi Watts. And last but not least, Special Agent Dale Cooper, Kyle MacLachlan. All right, let's get this underway. I can't resist. Kyle, before we all dive in, do you have anything that you want to say here to Hall H by way of greeting? Would you please? That's my ringtone. Before we get into the return, I'd love to talk to some of the original cast about the legacy of Peaks and what the last couple decades were like without it, and then how you were summoned back into it by David and Mark. Starting with Kyle, when it ended, did you always feel like there was going to be more?
Actually, no. I figured that was the end. Although David and I are good friends and we visit with each other frequently, and I would always during the conversation, and they were always a couple of hours of just sort of revisiting old territory, I would always say, you ever think about maybe going back to Twin Peaks? Maybe. And David was always just kind of very non-committal about it, and he never sort of said yes or no, but it was definitely probably a no at that time. So.
And then what happened? Was it a phone call? Was it
It was a cryptic phone call. So he called and said, I needed to speak with you. And I said, okay. And he said, but I can't speak to you over the phone about this. And I was like, okay. So I knew I was in trouble for something, or he wanted to talk about something that I hoped he wanted to talk about. So we met in a hotel room in New York, and he had coffee there, which is always nice. And he said he and Mark were writing and had found a way back to Twin Peaks, and was I up for the journey? And I said, I've never left Twin Peaks, David. I said, I'm ready to go. So.
Everett, I think that I heard or read somewhere that had you not answered a very specific phone call, did David and Mark like tweet out, how do we get in touch with you? How did that all happen from your perspective?
Well, I heard, Mark told me that David was going to go out to his Twitter crowd and see whether or not someone knew about my whereabouts. And somebody sent him a telephone number of an empty house I have where I keep a couple of vintage cars. And I just happened to be there. I show up at this place maybe every couple of weeks to drive the cars. And I got this yellow rotary phone hanging in the wall. And it rings. And I haven't heard this damn phone ring in 10 years. And I pick it up, it's David. For some strange reason, it felt so comfortable. I hadn't spoken to this guy in 20 years. It was like we picked up a conversation we just left off the day before. So it was sweet, it was warm. Oddly enough, we didn't talk about Twin Peaks, but we shared a lot of our memories together, some of the time we spent on Dune, and of course Twin Peaks. And he said, hey man, I need a telephone number where I can be in touch with you. Is this a good one? And I said, man, this is not a good phone. So we exchanged numbers, and in a while he got back to me and he said, we're we're going to do Twin Peaks. And I said, what? Missed 25 years, man. They're going to put you in jail. You're breaking some kind of law. They said they're going to do it, and I said, well, you just call me when it's time to suit up. And I did. It's great, by the way. It's a fabulous feeling, a warm, wonderful, womb-like feeling to be around him, because he's a funny guy. He's very clever. He knows how to get a performance. He knows how to dig deep. And I loved coming back. It's a long time. 25 years is a long time.
We're really glad that you came back. Dana, I heard you were actually heading to a fan convention with Cheryl when you heard that there was something in the works.
Yeah, we were heading to the Twin Peaks UK Festival, I think 2015 probably. And it had been, you know, rumored, and the tweets had come out about the gum coming back in style and all that stuff. So kind of knew what was going on. And then, you know, Cheryl was on the way to the airport, and David called her and said, you know, it's going to happen, you're in it. And then she said, well, I'm going to go see Dana in London in a few hours. Is he in it, or can I tell him? And so he said, yeah, Dana's in it. And so we didn't know in what capacity or anything about it, but then we were in it. And so we just, you know, got to, it was the best trip to London. We got to just walking on there. It was super fun. We used to send pictures. We were sending pictures to David of us walking on the London Bridge. And so there's Bobby and Laura. That's it. So that's how I look at that.
And James and Kimmy, what about you guys? Where were you when you got the call?
In bed.
I was just at a friend's house, and phone rang, and yeah, I was completely like mind blown. I was about 100 miles away from my house, and I immediately got up, put my stuff together, went back to my house, and I just lost it. I didn't know what to do. It was wonderful to hear it. Yeah.
I was in bed, the phone rang, I answered it, which I never do. But I answered it because first I got a text. It was Sabrina Sutherland asking if she could call me, that's what you do in LA. You have to ask if it's all right if it can call you. I said yes. She called me, I answered the phone, and she said, I have David Lynch for you, would you like to speak to him? And I went, yes. And he told me, and as he was talking, I slid off the bed, down the bed, which was really high at the time. By the time I was done talking to him, I was looking at the bottom of my bed. I had somehow crawled all the way under the bed. Because it was just so unexpected.
Naomi, you've worked with David before on Mulholland Drive. Amazing movie. How did you get recruited for Peaks? And more importantly, what, if anything, did you know about Janey-E before you said yes?
Okay, the first part, I've definitely stayed in touch with David since Mulholland Drive, and you know, we get together and go up to his house and we chat a bit, and I had actually gone up there maybe, I don't know, a year ago or more than a year ago with Laura Dern, who's sadly not here today. And we were trying to coax him into some ideas and get something going. Kind of, you know, that's what you do with David. Come on, hire me again. It's just so good to be on a set with him or just in a room. Anyway, he was talking about some ideas as he smoked and smiling a lot, but not really saying yes or no, like your conversation went down. And then finally, I heard the rumor that Twin Peaks was happening, but I wasn't part of that original team, obviously. So it would be wrong for me to be pushy about it, but I dropped some hints. And then finally I did get a call and said, Naomi, come up to the house. I want you to read something. And I said, okay, sounds good. And he just gave me an envelope, gave me a cup of coffee, sat me in his chair that he built, and next to a table that he built. And I sat there for a good hour or so and read these pages, but there was nothing, I don't know anything about what happened before my part or after, and the scenes I was in, that's all he gave me, and some of the scenes, the lines were crossed out, so I don't know what was said. Only, the back and forth between us. Dougie, lovely Dougie. Dougie!
So those pages, though, it was slugged as Dougie. You were in a scene with Dougie, but was it revealed to you that that character was going to be played by Kyle? Or
it was not told to me, but I certainly
Understood.
posed that question,
Copy that.
which he did not, clarify. Yeah.
Matthew, I wrote a piece on the work that you've been doing in The Return, and it said, and I quote, "By conjuring up as much snot as a person could ever create, Lillard has turned Hastings into a memorable human character in a sea of Lynchian insanity. Many have compared your cheerful performance to that of the incredible Ray Wise from the original series, who played Laura Palmer's father, Leland. And I heard you came in cold, that you never actually, kind of...
Still haven't, bro.
You've never seen the original Peaks.
They're all still lovely. These people are amazing. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
So, are you watching this one, The Return?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think they're so lovely. I think it's weird. Anyone else? Super. If you're not a Lynchian, if you're not a Twin Peaks dude, you come in, it's a little strange.
My question for you would be...
You guys saw episode 8, right? That's crazy.
What is it? Yet you feel like you fit in this world so completely. What do you think it is that David saw in you that made him invite you into this world?
I honestly have no idea how I got here. Look, I don't know. His casting process is very interesting. It's you sit in a room and somebody talks to you and they put a video camera on your face and you're just talking about life in general and you get a phone call saying, I want you to come read these pages. So I literally was like, with my kids, I'm like, I have to go by this office and read a script. And my biggest fear is that I was gonna do something horrible and naked in the show. I don't know, when you're reading a David Lynch script, you have no idea where it's gonna go. Yeah, it's a horrible thing. And then, I got to the scene that's in episode 9, and it was intimidating. It was the scariest thing I've ever read as an actor, just because in the middle of it, he's got a line that says the character breaks down hysterically sobbing. You sort of know, being a fan of David's and being a fan of his movies, what that kind of looks like. So it was intimidating, and on that day, you sort of, in his world, you get 2 takes. You kind of come in, you do your thing, and you move on. So you want to be really good, really fast.
Mission accomplished.
You did.
Now, Tim, you were a Peaks fan, like a Dune fan, a Lynch fan. Is that accurate?
I was more of a Eraserhead fan.
Great.
I was, and a Blue Velvet fan. So, and a Mulholland Drive fan. So I was very, the idea of, a long time ago I played Gregor Samsa, who's in the Metamorphosis character. I did it with Burkhoff, and we did it in London on stage.
Cockroach.
And that's what Eraserhead, that's the connection to that for me in a way, in a weird weird way. So I was a fan of that stuff. I wasn't somebody who'd seen who dealt with the whole Twin Peaks thing. I was busy dealing with the Quentin thing at that time. And so this was all new to me. I knew him from Dune, which I saw in the cinema in London, and but I was very, very new to all of it. Very new. I find it intriguing. I still do.
And you had never met David prior to working on this project with him?
No, I met his daughter. I hadn't met him.
And so what was the first meeting like? Did you get the job before you actually met him? Was there a phone call?
They called up
Yeah.
and said, "Do you want to do Twin Peaks?" I said, "Yeah." Let's fucking it, man. Oh, I broke the law. I'm not supposed to swear. But yeah, and then I was working with, I can't say. Can I say? Yes, I can say. With Jennifer Jason Leigh, and I just worked with her. So, and David had cast us in it completely independently of Hateful Eight. He didn't even know that we worked together in it, I don't think. And so it was kind of a nice reunion for us.
Don, we've talked a lot about working with, meeting David. Many of your scenes are working with Kyle. More importantly, the Dougie iteration of Agent Cooper or Kyle's performance. I don't quite know how to explain it. What is it like working with Kyle? What is it like working with someone who doesn't say words per se? What are the inherent challenges in some of those scenes?
Well, I remember my first sentence to Dougie was, "Cut the shit, Dougie." I knew that we had a relationship. When I was told about Twin Peaks, it actually came from the casting director, Joanna Ray, who was a wonderful casting director, as you can see from the wonderful actors that she gets. And I had never met David, and of course, all I got was pages of script, my own scene, but the scene was 4 pages long and solid dialogue, and the other characters just said a word or two. And this was a real challenge to do. And fortunately, I had my actor's son, Michael Murray, who was one of the stars of Cop Rock, ran the scene with me, and we had 10 days before we started shooting, and he made me go through the scene 10 times each day. So I'd gone through 100 times by the time we got to the scene. And then what was really interesting to me and made it all the more enjoyable was there was such an atmosphere on the set when I walked on the set. I think it was probably one of the happiest sets I've ever walked on. There was no tension at all. Everything was very relaxed, and even the cast and the crew, there was a togetherness where there was no real difference between actors and technicians. We were all into making this film. We were all very much moved by the man who had written this and directed it, in David Lynch, and also with Mark, of course. And it just became one of the great experiences of my life, one of the most pleasant things that I've ever done. And having seen the results, I'm watching it like a fan every week because, of course, I haven't seen the other pages that the other actors are doing. So it made me a big Twin Peaks fan, and I'm just happy to be part of it. I feel very grateful for the opportunity.
You raised a really interesting point because all of you, maybe with the exception of Kyle, have only read your parts. What is it like watching the show for you? The first 10 episodes. What is the experience of seeing it? Are you just as surprised as we are? Are you trying to figure out how you fit into it? Do you watch it with friends and family? Do you watch it alone? Just a question for the entire panel. I'm curious as to how you are watching this work, because traditionally an actor knows what it's going to be. In this case, not so much.
We're all watching it as it unfolds. No one has seen anything beyond the episodes that have already aired. And I like to watch it home alone. Glass of wine, and that's about all I need. So.
I haven't watched it yet because I've been traveling in places with not great internet, and so I'm saving it all. It's like
You're really good.
Canada? No. All right, that was.
Yeah, so it's good to. I'm looking forward to watching big chunks of it all at once.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna wait until it's done, and then I'm gonna watch the whole thing from the first series all the way through to the end with my kids. So we're gonna have like a festival that will. I don't know what that's gonna do to us, but I'm up for it, and you're all invited.
Just, because we don't know anything, but we, knew the cast list, but we didn't know how it all factored in. But I just want to say that as an original, it's been so exciting and thrilling for me to watch someone like Kyle, who I've known for all these years, get to do stuff that I didn't even know he could do. It's like amazing to see his work. And these two here as well, they're like some of my favorite actors. And just to be able to be a part of something, well, we don't know if we interact, but just the fact that we got to, I get to watch them work. It's just awesome. And then plus all the, originals. I don't know. It's just exciting for everybody, even us,
How about that Dana turned out? I mean, Bobby look where he's come. Look how far he's come.
Bobby got a good arc.
Bobby got a good arc. Watching you grow as an actor has been great too.
I think they suck. That's why I love him.
Just another quick question for the panel, and we're going to, if you guys want to start lining up for Q&A, we're going to get to that in just a minute. What is the question that you guys get asked the most often by either the fans, the media, even if you aren't allowed to answer it? But I'm just curious, what's the question that kind of keeps coming up now that the return is out there? Do you have one?
What's David Lynch like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's David Lynch like?
How do you even answer a question like that? What's David Lynch like?
Can I say?
What's David Lynch like?
He has this incredible sense of joy about him. It's actually an easy answer because he's full of joy and life, and he has this peace about him that's unlike anyone I've ever experienced. And he has a vision of what he wants. I don't know. He's a fantastic human being. So it's actually an easy answer.
He is fantastic. He's his belief in his process and his vision and his point of view is so profound and focused, and he inspires me that way because he follows this dream in his mind, and that I find that inspirational in my life to go after the thing that I believe in the strongest. He inspires me that way.
Yeah.
I think one of the most impressive things about David is that he really shows great appreciation for other people's work. And it's one thing that we all like is to be appreciated for our efforts, and he never fails to do that. So you go home after a day's work with David and you feel good about yourself and about the world because of having had that experience.
All right, guys, let's open it up to some of your questions. I've still got a bunch more. Oh, excellent. The gentleman over there in the Spider-Man.
Nice to meet you all. My question is, what added story material do cast members bring to each episode?
I can tell a brief story about an actor who's not here named Jim Belushi. And in one scene, you know, kind of a big scene, everything was going crazy, and Jim decided that he was going to ad-lib a line in this heightened moment of euphoria, which he did, and we heard, "Cut!" and he said, now, and David has one of those megaphones, and he said, "Mr. Belushi, do I have to report you to the principal's office?" And Jim went, "No, sir, got it."
Yeah.
I hope that helps answer your question.
Great answer. Yes, sir.
How's it going, guys? I just want to say real quick, thank you for making unconventional television that's thoughtful, makes you think, and is just, I have a blast watching every week, so thank you. But really quick, I just want to say it's really easy to reference David's old work while watching the new series, and for me specifically, I see a lot of Mulholland Drive in the new season, whereas I think that Mulholland Drive has a lot to say about the film-going experience and how we perceive film. Twin Peaks still does, I know I'm doing really quick, sorry. Twin Peaks does that with television even 25 years later. So my question is, if Agent Dale Cooper and Diane from Mulholland Drive were to get coffee and pie, what would their conversation be like?
Very odd.
I got this.
You can go. I have no idea. Well, it would be interesting.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know. What do you think, David?
I don't think improv is called for here. It's a great question. I'm sure somebody should present it to David.
We'll mull it over, yeah.
But there's fanfic waiting out to be written there, sir, for you.
They'd be talking football.
Yeah, everyone knows that. Big football fans.
Big football.
Yes. Hey there.
What gave you, sorry, I have problems with that. I have problems with the mic. Okay.
It's okay.
What gave you the idea to do a movie?
Yeah, does anybody want to answer sort of, why did you decide to become actors? Like,
The Twin Peaks movie.
yes.
You're lost.
Fire Walk With Me?
That would be Fire Walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking back on what you were saying before, because I think obviously you can draw tremendous connections with Firewalk and Twin Peaks, of course, and see a lot of similarities there. But, to answer the question, I don't know, it's general, but when David calls, we answer the call. So, wherever he goes, whatever he wants us to do.
Yeah, like literally anything, even get in a bunny suit. I don't know if anyone...
Is that a spoiler? Is that going to happen? No?
Oh, darn it.
No, that's
All right, well, I guess we can all go home.
project.
We're in trouble now.
All together.
Yes, sir.
Spill her guts.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to say, Mr. MacLachlan, I'm a huge fan. I love that you're the mayor in Portlandia. I love that you're Captain George Van Smoot in How I Met Your Mother. I watched Dune as a kid, and of course, the Flintstones movie will always be in my heart. My question is, for the cast that's watching, do you guys watch the episodes and ask yourself, why is no one worried about Dougie?
I don't worry about that at all.
That's Janey-E's job. She worries about Dougie.
I was worried about Dougie.
It is the immortal question. What? Obviously, you're probably the least qualified to answer this, but what do you all make of Dougie? You know, what's your hot Dougie take?
He's hot.
Yeah. Any commentary? Any thoughts?
I think that it's very easy if you ever meet any families who live like out in the suburbs and who have kids and work. It's very easy to slip through the cracks and say one word a month without anyone noticing. And what wife wouldn't like that from a husband?
That's the best answer I've heard.
It's working.
Thanks.
That is the hot take.
Absolutely.
And wasn't Dougie ripped? Dougie was pretty ripped too, so
Yes.
there's that.
Yes.
No donuts for that month.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's such a pleasure to see the show back after 25 years. And my parents watched the series originally as it was airing in the 90s. So sitting down and watching it with them every Sunday, it really feels like it's come full circle. But a lot has changed in the past 25 years. So how do you think the internet has changed the production or just the quality of the show or the show itself? How's the internet played a role in that?
That's a great question. Yeah, Kyle, you were obviously
Just
the
really
first time.
quickly, I think, you know, it made us very conscious. We made a real concerted effort to not let anything get out about the show. No spoilers, no anything really. And I think the specter of social media and all that made everyone a little nervous, and we worked very hard to make sure that nothing got out in that way, which I think we were very successful with. So,
I know you're not allowed to speculate or demystify the show that we're currently watching, but do you start to cook up kind of your own theories? Are you aware that out there on the internet there are people who are watching these episodes hundreds of thousands of times, each episode trying to sort of unpack mystery, understand what's going on, and just as since again you're not just in it but also watching it, what do you make of all that, all the theorizing? Fun, frustrating, both of the above?
I've never been asked how I have a date. I write a date in episode 9, and I must have been asked 1,000 times what was the date that I wrote down. Like Twitter, like the 20th or the 29th.
What was the date that you wrote down?
I think it's the 20th, but it was like a year ago, and I have terrible penmanship. I can't tell. But The Zone, I mean, they went out and created The Zone, which is an online site that you can visit. It's real.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am.
Hey guys, my name's Dominique. I just want to say I love Twin Peaks, new and old. I'm a big fan of Naomi Watts. You are beautiful in person and I am starstruck. My question is to you or to anyone, who has made you feel starstruck in your life?
I would say I still get a little starstruck around David because he's just so unique and he's like living on another world. It's one that you look up to and want to be a part of. You just kind of want to please him in everything you do. That sounds weird. On set. But yeah, because he's. I'll come back from that. Yeah. No, it's truly, that's not a joke. He creates such an incredibly imaginative world, and it's so original, and you just want to join that world at whatever cost, and you know it's going to be good because all his ideas are just completely original. Anyway, but thank you. Sorry.
Oh boy, this is going to be good. Go ahead, sir.
Diane, if I ever had the chance to meet the amazing crew of Twin Peaks, I would take that chance to ask Kyle what it was like to learn to speak and act backwards in the Black Lodge.
With the clip. Well done, sir.
Well done. Car still. That's less rock paper to it. You know, I was very lucky that all I really had to do in the Black Lodge was occasionally walk backwards and sit down. And the other actors were all required to learn that dialogue backwards. It was extraordinary to watch the focus and concentration as they were able to deliver this indecipherable dialogue. And it was difficult, you know, but so highly effective, I think.
Is there a different energy on the set when you're doing stuff that's inside the Black Lodge than when you're doing stuff that's outside of it?
Yeah, it feels very focused and almost like electricity is buzzing around. It's a very unusual environment. That floor, first of all, you know, gives you a whole different kind of state of being.
Hi.
Hi guys. So my question is mostly what I say directed to Kyle is, everyone talks about Dougie, but everyone seems to be forgetting about Doppel Cooper, one of the most amazing villains I've ever seen right now. And my real thing is, Kyle, how much do you like being bad right now?
Real life is great. It was, I was reading the script and seeing what David expected me to do at the very beginning was very humbling because, he stuck with me, you know, so hopefully I'll be able to do what I need to do with that role. But we found him sort of slowly together, David Lynch and I, and then I was very lucky in that David was like, because it was stated in one of the early episodes.
Mr. C.
Mr. C, Mr. C. Yeah, I just like the way Otis said that. I thought that was, that's one of my favorite scenes. That and Beulah comes in, that's how you. I love that, it's so haunting, just the way she said that. That's some of my favorite stuff.
Yes, sir. Cool shirt.
Thank you.
That's
My name's
cool.
Cody Jones. I just wanted to say I've been a fan for a long time, so I know better not to ask any questions explaining anything or what this means or whatever. So I kind of had a question for Matthew, since he's new to it. First off, watch season 1, season 2, then the movie, then the one you're in.
Yep.
Copy that. That's the order. All right.
Yep.
So yeah, since I don't have a question to explain anything, Matthew, could you do some of your lines as Bill's Hastings lines as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo?
Oh my
I don't know whether to insulate you from this or bring you
can't protect me. I got you.
Do it again. Do it again.
Zoinks! Scuba diving, zoinks! I don't know.
Bravo.
I can't get away from that damn character. I don't want to be associated with him. I mean, I love him, Shaggy, but I would like that to be done, and I just want to be Bill Hastings forever. Act the planet.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you something, Matthew. In that scene, you left us other actors a lot to live up to. That was enormous.
Yes, sir.
So first off, I just want to say I'm a big Dune fan, so it's a pleasure to meet Kyle and Everett. So,
Thank you, man. That's sweet.
and my question is, this is going to sound bad. I haven't seen Twin Peaks, so how would you describe it in a nutshell?
Whoa. Oh my God, that's great. That's a good one.
I think just throw the nut away.
Keep the shell.
Anybody else have a way of describing this show in a sentence or two?
It's very crispy and slightly beige.
Anyone else? No? It's challenging.
Yeah.
Are you convinced? Are you going to watch it now, sir?
I do.
Yes?
I hope so.
All right. Excellent. Yes, ma'am.
Moist.
The man who asked the previous question seems to be in the same scenario as most of the actors out there who haven't seen it. But anyway, wow.
Hey!
My question
They're waiting to binge it.
There's some shade, right?
My question is, Audrey Horne, as one of the most dynamic characters from the original, I'm wondering why she didn't have a romance be pursued with Cooper.
In this, which one, what are you referring to?
Original?
In the original.
Because I saw it kind of going along the lines in the first season that she would kind of be his romantic interest, and then they kind of did away with that. So I was wondering why that didn't happen.
I mean, ultimately, I think I don't know. The writing went a different way, but I mean, she was high school student.
Yeah.
And so I think they felt that maybe, but I think that had a lot to do with it.
Even in the early 90s, that was still frowned upon.
No.
Crazy. Yes, miss.
So we're not going to get together.
Oh.
My question's for the original cast. I was wondering what it was like stepping into your old characters after all these years.
Great question. Dana?
Well, I hadn't been in front of a camera in maybe 20 years. And so I was scared about that. It's kind of like the barrel of a gun or a cannon. You can't bullshit it. And it'll shoot you dead if you try. So I was afraid maybe I wasn't able to go back to the emotions, that kind of vulnerability, being susceptible to the sensations and the emotions that are going on around you. So it's a big step for me. But seeing everybody on the set, see how warm and inviting David was great.
I have something to say.
Let's hear it.
For me, it was all about the wool and the sweaters. Sweaters that Lucy always wears. Sorry, keep dropping.
James, Dana, either of you, what was it like? I mean,
my thing is that I think it's so different from my character in a sense. So we'll just see. So I don't know. It's like the same yet different. I think that's with Dana. He's the same yet different. You know, his heart is exposed. You can see who he is. You know, and in the beginning it was more like, it literally is like, what did that kid turn out like? You know what I mean? So, you know, so when you come back in it, you're the exact same person, but no longer the same person. So. But it was effortless. To answer your question, it was more than effortless, like what Kyle said, and it was like literally family. Again, it sounds corny, like what everybody says, but this is the type of thing what Don said. It says he is the only set that I've ever been on where everybody across the board can say something, with the exception of one director who also is around the same, you know, size as where David is and stuff. He's very creative, but I've never seen anybody as creative as David and as giving and loving to his cast and the crew, and everybody was just, you know, the same. You know, he treats everybody. He'll take everybody as exactly, gets the same respect, and that's just, it's a beautiful thing, and it makes it very safe and comfortable. You know.
He's got a sharp edge too. I've seen the sharp edge. There's this beautiful speech where I'm describing how Nadine and I got together. It was a long piece of exposition. I probably didn't have it very well. And I said, David, do you think they're going to sit still for this? He says, well, let me help you with that. Give me a minute, I'm going to run up and down the hallway, and I can find somebody to say that speech for you, and you just stand behind him and nod your head.
Wow.
Okay? That's another side.
Awesome. All right, I think we've got time for just 2 or 3 more questions. Go ahead. This very nice jacket.
Hello!
It's like I'm looking in the mirror.
Dougie Jones. My question for the cast is, given the importance of music to the world of Twin Peaks and the importance of the music that, the importance that Twin Peaks has had on the music community, I just want to get a feel for what the cast individually might have wanted to see on the soundtrack. And that's not to discredit what we've heard so far, it's been amazing, but I'd love to hear it.
About the music, I mean, I think the music is fantastic. And I love the idea that we sort of end the hours, most of them, I think, with a musical journey. I think it's kind of great that at the end of the hour you return back to a place of maybe not comfort, but it's a place we recognize from Twin Peaks, you know, the Bang Bang Club, or even the diner that one time, that you come back to a place that's got some comfort in it, I think, at the end of the hour journey.
I have to say that the opening song and that opening shot sequence like settles you into that space so clearly. It's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is a question for Kyle. Since you're working with Lynch from really early in your career, do you feel like there was a trajectory between all these characters and how it affected you in your maturation, from both personally and as a human being, professionally? Was there a connection between those characters?
Thanks for the easy question. Softball. Without a doubt, David's had a huge impact on my career. I don't know if I would have had a film and television career if it weren't for David. It was all theater, and David brought me into movies. And I mean, he pretty much brought me up in film world, and so and spoiled me. We've all spoken about how the set is that he creates, the environment, and the joyfulness and the sense of creativity. And so that's what I experienced in the first 2 things that I ever did. So I've been spoiled forever by working with David. He's an interesting guy. There's a point, I was thinking about something else about David, is that he's very accessible to all of us. And he's very open, and he's very available. And then there's a point at which he goes into a place that's purely David. And I don't think, it's like this is him as the artist. He's like an artist. And at that point, I'm like, then I become like a fan, you know, because now he's my pal, but when he goes here, he's an artist, like a real artist, and that's untouchable. And a place that I don't feel I can share with him. He exists in there all by himself, you know. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but there's definitely a difference.
All right, this will be the last question, unfortunately, so make it count, sir.
I'll try. I wanted to know, what was it like to film the sequences in the Black Lodge with the evolved form of the arm?
Now we're getting somewhere. Well, to be completely honest, I didn't really know what we were seeing.
Only after the fact. You experienced the arm with us, the audience.
I experienced it with the audience, exactly.
So you were just told there's something here.
Yes,
and then you turned on your television and it was a tree with some sort of talking brain.
Exactly right.
Thing.
Why was I surprised? It was exactly what I imagined.
We've all been there.
It wasn't a giant dinosaur coming down to pick me out of it.
Just a couple of announcements to make before we wrap this up, there's Twin Peaks merchandise available through Entertainment Earth and Funko. They're going to give you guys special Twin Peaks merch. There's an Agent Cooper bobblehead. There's a Welcome to Twin Peaks sign monitor bobble, and a 2-pack of Agent Cooper and Laura Palmer. A bunch of these guys are going to be signing autographs at the Entertainment Earth booth. That's number 2343, immediately after the panel. You can tell them in person how much you love the show. I will be in line with you. And then, most importantly, there's a screening of Part 11 tonight. Here, airing ahead of the episode that's going to air on Sunday. That's going to take place in room 6A at 10 p.m. So check that out. And finally, I guess technically even more importantly than that, Twin Peaks is moving to 8 p.m. on Sunday nights, starting August 6th. So if you're watching it at 9 p.m. and you're like, this is a really weird episode of Twin Peaks, you are not watching Twin Peaks because it has moved to 8. So I think you gave the hello, Kyle. Is there anything that you want to say as a goodbye? Here's 7,000 Peaks fans all under one roof on behalf of everybody. Let's send it out.
I want to first thank Damon for being here and moderating the panel. Extraordinary job. I think we all just so grateful that you're here and that you love the show and that you're watching the show, and I think just give you guys a big shout out for being such fans. So thanks for being here.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.